Hello everyone, this is Ashish Saini from Innovate Yourself. Welcome back to my channel. Once again, I am back with a new video on Python programming for the beginners. In this video, I will show you that how you can link your Python programming with the Postgres database so that you can connect both of them together and you can accordingly store the data and further retrieve the data. So you can do both of them with those queries that we will be having for the Postgres. And I think in the previous video you have already seen about all those queries which I have already explained you that how you can perform the CRUD operations on the Postgres queries. Previously we have done those things by going to the Postgres terminal. Now we will not do that by going to the Postgres terminal. Instead, now we will be doing the same thing through the Python programming. In short, we will be using a connector. That connector will be connected directly to your Postgres, and there we will be connecting both of them, and then we will be executing the queries. So that's all that we will be learning in today's session. Now let's not waste time and let's understand how we are going to do that and how to set up all the things to make the connection between the Python and the Postgres database. So let's get started. Alright, so you can see this is a project which we already have, and over there we have created multiple projects. Now let me do one thing. Let me create a new Python script so that I can write the code for that, so that all the queries that I want to execute for Postgres, that I will be executing in the Python itself. I don't have to go to Postgres. I can do them directly over here. So that is all that I will be doing over here. Now let's write a name for our script. So let's say alright, test psql db.py. So this is a file that I have created. This is a script for me. Now the next thing is that I have to use a connector, and as I said that I have to use a connector, so that connector will be helping us to connect Python programming with the database so that we can make a direct connection between both of them, which will help us to execute the queries of the Postgres database through the Python program. So in short, whatever execution you want to do, you will be doing it in Python, but the changes you will be able to see in the Postgres database. So that is all that we will be doing. So to do that, we have a connector, and that connector is named as psychopg2. So that is all that we need to install first of all. So for that, let me do one thing. Let me first check that whether I already have it in Python or I have to install it manually. So for that, let's say, so can you see it's not installed just because the psychopg2 is underlined with a red line. So that means it is not installed in Python and we have to install it manually. So now let me show you how to install it. So to do that, you have a very simple process. Just go to the terminal, and inside your terminal activate the virtual environment where you want to install it, and here just write a very simple command, and that simple command is pip install psychopg2. Now press enter. Now wait for it to finish. Alright. So you can see I have got an error. So that means if I will be executing this query, which is psychopg2, or let's say pip install psychopg2, this will not allow you to install it. So simply, it is not a network issue, it is not something else. It is an error relating to some GCC, GNU or something. So that's a different error. So that means I cannot execute this query. So how should I install psychopg2 now? So I have an alternate option for you. Don't worry about that. So in that case, you simply have to just update this name. You just have to modify this name, and that name is this. That you simply have to write a command as pip install psychopg2 -binary. Now press enter and wait for it to finish. Wait for it to be installed. And you can see it's installed successfully. It didn't even take much time, right? So this is all that we have done, and this is the way how my psychopg is installed now, right? Now over here you can see it is scanning, and now the underline is gone automatically, right? So this is the way how you can install psychopg onto your Python program, right? So this is all about that, and also we can check it over here by typing a simple command pip list. Now press enter. Now over here you will find where it is, yeah, this psychopg binary. Now you can see it is installed over here, and based on that, now you will be able to use the psychopg, which will be a direct connector for your Postgres and your Python. So I have both of them now. Now the next thing is that I have to execute my queries, right? So now firstly, let me write a very simple command. Let me first write a very basic script to check, or let's say to verify that whether I can make a connection between a PsychoPG and my Postgres or no. So this is all that we have to do now. Right now you can see I'm not getting any error. So if I will try to run this script, you will not get any output, and also you will not get any error as well. So that is all that I have done. Now the next thing is that I have to first try to make a connection between the Postgres and my Python programming. So this is all that I will be doing. Now to do that, first of all, just write the first command, or let's say just create your first object. Let's say connection is my object that I will be creating right now, and that will be called from psychopg2 dot. Over here you have to make a connection, and that is the first one. You have to connect it, and to connect it there are different parameters that I need to pass over here, and those parameters are, the first one is, let's say, user. What is the user? The username is Postgres. So for the Postgres I'm going to write it. Second thing is the password, and if you don't know what is the password for that, don't worry, I will tell you how you can update the password and how you can get the password. So don't worry about that, I will tell you right now. Just before that, let me write the rest of the parameters. And the next thing is that you have to specify the host. What is the host? In our case right now we are working on localhost, so I will simply type localhost, comma, and what will be the port for it, and the by default port for it is 5432. So this is the by default port for me right now, so I have mentioned this, right? So this is all about this. And the last thing is the database. So database, I have to specify that for what database I want to go on. If you have the database, then you can specify it. If you don't have the database, no need to specify, you can leave it. You can just remove this and you can directly check for it right now, right? That's it. So you can do this much only, right? And now the next thing is I can simply print connection made successfully. All right, so right now let me do one thing. Let me try to run this. Now what happened? Okay, currently it is saying no password supplied. All right, no issues. Suppose if I don't know what is the password, so I'm randomly passing any password for this, and let's see if I will run this. Now what will happen? Here it will say fatal password authentication failed for user Postgres. So this is what exactly you are getting. And now you must be thinking like, I haven't set any password for that, I haven't specified anything, then why I'm not getting the password for this? Alright, if you don't know what is the password, don't worry. Let's do one thing, let's alter the password. Whatever is the password, I don't care about that now. I just want to create my own password. I just want to add a new password for my Postgres. So to do that, you simply have to go to terminal. Just open the Postgres terminal over here. Open PSQL. I think these commands I have already shown you in my previous session. So if you don't know about them, so just refer to my previous video. There you will get all the detail about that. Now the next thing is that I have to execute my first query, and that execution query is to alter the data, to alter the user password. So how you will be doing that? To do that, you have a very simple command, alter. You have to alter the user. What is the user? Postgres is the user. And what you have to alter? I have to alter the password. Okay, I have to alter the password. So what is the password for that? PSQL1234. So this is a password of your choice, whatever you want to specify, just specify this. This will be the new password for you. And after that, put a semicolon and press enter. Okay, I got some error, and that error is syntax error at near this. Okay, I have made a problem. The problem is I have to pass single quotation, not the double quotations. Now press enter. Okay, alter role. Now the role is altered, so that means now I have created a new password for my Postgres. Now let me do one thing. Let me pass this password, whatever I have specified. Now let's try to run it. Can you see? Connection made successfully. That means I have successfully updated the password of my Postgres, and now also I'm able to make a connection with my database. So simply when I have made a connection with my database, that means now I can further use the queries, whatever I want to execute, and I can accordingly do whatever I want to do. So that's all up to me now, right? So this is all that I've done right now. Now over here, as I said, you have two options. Either you want to create a new database or you want to use the existing one, right? So let me do one thing. Let me create a new database right now. Suppose I don't have any database with me right now and I have to create a new database. So to do that, you have a very simple command, and that very simple command is that you have to execute a new database, and that for that you have a query create database, whatever is the database name, and with this query you will be able to create a database. But that was a process that you used to write in your Postgres. But right now I'm not in Postgres, I'm in Python, and I have to write a query as per that. So to do that, I first have to make a cursor. So I will be creating a cursor object, and for this cursor object, what I will be doing, I will be simply writing connection dot cursor, right? So this is what I'm having right now. Press enter. After that, now you will be using this cursor object which you have created dot. Now inside this you will be having a function, or you can say the method, which will be used to take a query for you, and accordingly you will be further executing that query, right? So let me just pass it now. Alright, so over here I will be simply typing my next command, and that is create database. And what is the database name? Let's say PSQL underscore PYDB. Let's say this is the name which I am giving to my database, right? Now this is all that I have done. Now the next thing is, let me just make a commit for this so that all the changes will be made to your database, right? So this is all about this, and finally just close the connection when you are done with this, right? So this is all about creating a new database. Now when I will run this, okay, let me do one more thing. Let me print a message for this as well. Let's say database created successfully, right? So I have written a simple message displaying that database has been created. That's it. So this is all that I'm going to do right now. Now let me run this command and let's see whether I'm able to execute the query or no. Now run it. Okay, psychopg object has no attribute. Okay, the spelling for execute is incorrect. Execute, right? Now let's run it again. Alright, so over here I have got an error, and that error is like create database cannot run inside a transaction block. So the reason is, like, in this case it does not support to create a database in just a normal format. So to create a database from here, you have to add 2 more lines over here if you want to create it. So to do that, what exactly you have to do is you simply have to add 1 line over here. Like, you have to add 2 lines over here, and I already have these 2 lines over here. So this is like you have to call this extension, and that extension is like to set isolate level. So without setting up the isolation level for this, you will not be allowed to create a new database directly, right? So this is the reason why we will be creating it in this way. Now I will be executing this query, and also in this case commit is not required when you are passing up this thing. So that is why it is not actually required. So I will not be passing this. Now when you will try to execute it now you will see when I will run it, can you see database created successfully? That means in this way I will be able to create a database whichever I have created. Now I have a new database with me. Now the next thing what I can do, I can simply use this database. I can simply copy this database, and over here I can specify that what database I want to use for my execution of my code. So that is all what I want to do right now, right? So the first thing is that I wanted to execute the create database command. So I have executed that. Now the next thing is that now I want to create a new table, and that new table will be created for my database that I have just created. Because currently if you will try to go to the terminal over here, now here if I will try to check, like say slash L for now, now over here you will see that you will have the database which I just created, which is like PSQL PyDB1. So this is the database name which I just created, and accordingly now I can switch to that. And to switch to that, you know how to do that. To do that, you simply have to write, let's say slash C, and the name for your database is PSQL underscore PyDB1. Now you are connected to a new database, which is this one, and inside this if you will try to check slash dt, you will find no relation. You didn't find any relation, right? So this is what you will get now. Now the next thing is that now I want to create my next query. I want to execute my next query. Now this is only required for the first time. After that you don't require it, so you can simply remove it now. Now let's do one thing. Let me create a new table over here, right? So to create a table, let's say I'm going to add a query over here, and for this I will be writing my command, and that is, let's say, create table. And what is the table name? Let's say test table. Now for that, just specify all the values. What are those values? First value, or let's say first column is, let's say, employee ID, and the ID will be, let's say, integer number, and that is also a primary key. Similarly, the next one is, let's say, name of a user, and let's say that is varchar. Just specify the length of it, comma. And now the next thing is, for example, email ID, that is also varchar. Just specify the length of it, and let's add 3 columns only, right? So that is all that I'm going to do right now. And now the next thing is that I will be executing the same thing, like cursor dot execute, open the brackets. Inside the brackets I will be passing this query directly, query, and over here we require this commit so that I can commit the changes inside my database. So this is all that I will be doing right now. Now over here, let's say table created successfully. So this is how I will be creating the table, right? So this is all that I have done right now. Now okay, now everything is done. Now let's run it. Okay, I am getting some error, and that error is like object has no attribute commit. Okay, the problem is that I have to call it from connection, not from the cursor. That was a biggest mistake that I was making right now. So over here you have to pass the connection, because changes I have to make inside the database, not inside the cursor. Cursor is not the one that is making a changes for me. Connection will be the one that is making a changes for me. So that is why I will do the commit over here, right? Now let's run it again. Now you can see this time it is giving you the message as table created successfully. And one more thing, if the table would be created automatically previously when I run the command and I have got an error, if the table was created at that time without commit, then I would have got an error. So this simply symbolizes that if the commit is not passed, then your data, or let's say whatever table you want to create, that table will not be created and that will not be added into the database. So that is the reason why I am calling this commit over here, so that it will commit the changes and it will keep the record of whatever you are doing right now, right? So this is the way how I will be using this commit over here. Now you can go back and again you can type the same thing like /dt. Can you see now? List of relations you have now, and this time you have a table name as test_table, right? Now this is all about this. Now the last thing that I want to do right now over here is that I want to execute my next query, and that my next query is to insert the data to my table. So to do that, you already know how to do it, because that we have already seen in a previous video where I have shown you about all the queries regarding my Postgres database, right? So insert into, what is the table? Table is test_table, and simply pass values. And what are those values? Let's say 1 comma, what is the name? Let's say Ashish Saini, comma, what is the email ID? Right? So this is all that I've done right now. Now if I will be executing this query, then you will notice that this data will be updated to the existing table. Right? Now here I will be changing the query. Now I have query 1 which I want to execute now. Now let's run it again. Now you can see you have the output. Now go back to the terminal and let's check select star from test_table. Can you see? This is a data which I just passed over here. This is a data which I just inserted to my database, or let's say to my table in the database PSQL_PyDB1. So this is all that we have done, and this is all that we have seen, that how we can simply connect our Postgres to the Python interpreter, and accordingly how we can execute the multiple queries through the Python programming and make the changes to the database that you already have with you. So that is all for today. I hope everything is clear to you, but if you are still facing any difficulties in understanding any of the topic, or if you are having any feedback for us, feel free to leave a comment below in the comment section. And also, if you have liked the video, do click on the like button, and if you are new to our channel and if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, do click on the subscribe button so that you will not miss any videos from our channel. And also, if you want to get a notification whenever we will upload a new video, then feel free to hit the bell icon so that whenever we will upload a new video, you will get a notification for that. So that is all for today. Till then, bye bye and happy learning.